Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Rockley Smile. Back for another episode of the only show that can make you talk about what happens if you inject a Jello mix into your urethra and then your pee comes out as a solid peg. We've got Last Grey Wolf and AlpacaPatrol today. How's it going?
It's, what?
Yep, it's pretty good.
That's what we talked about before.
I know. I was trying to do that thing where I pretend like we didn't talk about that.
It's not funny when you do that.
Yeah, it's
yeah. You know what's very dangerous is koala venom. Stay away.
Koala venom. I don't think that's...
Yeah. No, it's real.
You're really just going to brush right over that whole thing, huh?
Yeah, big red rubbery things covered in suckers.
I mean, if you inject the cherry Jello mold mix, I think it'll come out as a red cherry peg.
Imagine if there was a kind of animal that injected venom, but the venom was Jello.
Oh shit, so your blood turns into Jello in your veins?
Yeah.
And then when you bleed, it slide whistles out, like...
Basically, yes.
And then there's a bunch of clown nose fucking koalas fighting it out in the trees above you as you're bleeding to death with slide whistle blood.
Okay, and we can kind of clock it. Have we lost everyone in the comment section already?
We were watching a koala
literally no idea what we're talking about. Okay, good, we got there.
Koala videos are pretty good, I have to say. Like, if you need something to watch koalas fighting on the internet, because man, that'll take you places. I'll tell you.
It'll take you like one place.
It'll take it to one single place. Yes.
Terror place, Terror House, Terror Town.
Yeah, House on Terror Hill, I believe. It's, what it's.
Why would you build a house on Terror Hill? Who had that idea?
That's bad. Why would you build a house in Tornado Alley?
Well, Tornado Alley is huge. It's kind of hard not to.
Is Terror Hill one of those animal graveyards that you're not supposed to
I don't know,
build
but Terror
on?
Hill is one single hill. Even
Maybe
if it's a big hill.
Terror Terrace?
You can avoid Terror Hill. You don't have to build there.
I don't know. I mean, the Seven Hills of Rome, those are pretty big.
Yeah, but are any of them called Terror Hill?
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. They're probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, we should get into the news segment right away.
News segment.
So, Nintendo
I appreciate that, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, Nintendo filed a patent for emulating Nintendo games, making a Nintendo emulator on phones. Now, you may be thinking for a second here, oh, Rob, that sounds great, a first-party Nintendo emulator? And, you know, at first I thought, yeah, that sounds awesome, absolutely. But then you have to go back and realize that this is Nintendo that we're talking about, firstly. And then secondly, you have to realize that, well, you fuckers with your death touch. And then secondly, you have to realize that Nintendo doesn't actually need to patent emulation to do that. They can just put their games on the phone. So the point of that is that they're patenting it so that they can, like, basically sue all the people who have emulators up, which, by the way, aren't illegal until Nintendo files a patent for emulation of Nintendo games, because their patents actually ran out on Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy. I don't think the Game Boy Advance patent is out yet, but they had no legal recourse to fuck with those people, but now they have one, so they're going to use it. So, scoop them up quick.
People are going to make them anyway, and... Who doesn't already have a Nintendo emulator on their phones, like, already? Like,
well, if you don't have a jailbroken phone, you can't have one, right?
Well, I mean, that's only for iPods, but, yeah, I mean, Android, it's like the Wild West. Yeah.
Android has, like, 20 of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny, too, because it's like, this is like classic, not classic Nintendo, this is modern Nintendo, where it's like they see a bunch of people like, oh, we see on the phone, they're like, you know, millions of people emulating our old games because they really want to play them on their mobile devices on their way to work and stuff. That is interesting. We could make our own system and sell it, or we could just fuck everyone over and say, no one gets to play our games unless it's on our own proprietary hardware. And that's Nintendo.
And, you know, the point that I raised right before we started, as we were talking about this for a split second before we started the episode, was I just thought it was kind of funny that there's all those Square games, all those Final Fantasies and Chrono Trigger and all of that stuff that's already on iOS as a platform, and those are all emulated, and several, if not most of them, are also on Nintendo properties. So, like, how do they justify that? I mean, the concept is that they're trademarking or patenting the emulation, not individual IPs. But those, are they ports, or are those also emulated? And then do we have to draw a distinction between that?
I think in this case, it's probably like the same thing as Call of Duty, where they're just going to use. I mean, obviously, copyright and patents are different, but the like Call of Duty with Activision, they're just going to use their copyright for specific things that they don't want. Like, in case you guys don't know, Activision, what they did is they started copyright striking videos that showed glitches or exploits in the new Call of Duty game, as opposed to just completely saying no to all videos. They just did it for a certain set of videos, which is obviously a pretty
Abusing the system again.
yeah,
Such
obviously
bullshit.
abusing the system. Yeah, so that's that's
And the
Just
MCNs
Nintendo
are fine
things.
with it.
yeah.
Just Nintendo things. I like how Nintendo wants you to have fun, but they want you to have their fun only.
Yeah, because their fun is branded and checked out by them to be family friendly and slightly homophobic most of the time. So
And it was always like that too, which is the weird thing. Because Nintendo, way back in the day, if you remember, on the Nintendo Entertainment System, every Nintendo game came with a Nintendo seal of approval, right? Which meant that
well,
Nintendo,
everyone that was approved. There was also the LJN ones that weren't approved and didn't have the stamp on them.
well, that yeah, right. And that later became the Nintendo seal, not the Nintendo seal of approval, because they couldn't. Yeah, exactly. They bundled a seal with every Nintendo purchase. It
slippery
was
as
a
hell,
weird
smelled like
time
fish.
for video games. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
90s
It's
are
very
weird.
strange. We had lots of seals in our house.
Too many seals, man. We
yeah.
just wanted the games. We didn't really even want the
Too many seals. Too many.
Yeah,
seals.
I was gonna.
I beat you. That's all right. You stole my thunder on the Nintendo thing because I was also gonna say that like when I saw that article, I was gonna say, yeah, this looks great, except for oh wait, it's Nintendo, so obviously they're only doing this in a punitive way, not in a positive way.
I know that's
Never ever positive with them.
I remember reading. I read.
What are you doing?
The
What are you
article
doing?
initially?
Damn
Oh,
it.
you sanguine blood you. But yeah, I read the article initially, and I was like, oh, is Nintendo coming around on mobile stuff? And then I started
Fuck
reading
no.
the comments of people being like, yeah, they don't actually need the patent to do that. They're just using this to sue people. And it's like, oh, yeah, all right, that makes a lot more sense. that sounds a lot more like Nintendo.
Looks like Austin's cruising for a bruising right about now.
I'm cruising for a bruising. In yes.
Too many cooks.
Dude, I like that video.
me
Three
too.
many cooks.
Oh, Fight-O Titan.
Fight, oh, tight.
That card needs to be said like that. It really does.
Yeah, far too. Except he's like the least aggressive looking card ever. He's just like sitting
He's like
back.
stuck on the ground. His like scrotum is just like
Yeah. Yeah, he's just
his
chill.
head's just a mushroom.
He's not scary at all. Like he's just hanging out.
How does he? How does that do anything if it's just a giant stationary
He's got long
tree
legs.
creature?
He's probably just kicking from his seat. What is this thing?
They all have death touch now.
Oh, he's like a skeleton zombie.
He's touching the death.
I burped.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Too many cooks.
You just go all in on Austin.
You could do that, but
He's
I don't
just
have
gonna
any more
take the
radiant.
damage.
Yeah, he's gonna take the damage, yeah, but like he's like he can either block you, which he won't, or like the other alternative is that you leave 2 extra damage on the board that you can't block anyway because you can already not block 8 of it,
Too many cooks.
So
Well, yeah, he's gonna hit me for 8 this turn. I'm gonna be down real low
Yeah.
in health. There's some very specific cards that need to make synergy happen, and I kind of wish I hadn't sent a bunch of them to the graveyard by accident. There was a reason I did that, but it didn't end up panning out for me.
It just lands.
Yeah, I was hoping to get the right creature out of that draw.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the deck that was in old Magic 2014. I don't even know. That had the bunch of like bring back from the dead cards and all that.
I have like 4 or 5 different strategies all going at the same time with this deck. And,
running out of time, by the way.
I know. Just debating whether or not I should use that.
Too many cooks. That's like the only part of the song that anyone even remembers.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah,
And like the
That's
beginning, which I
pretty
don't
much
even know the tune to.
most of it.
Yeah, that's kind of all of it actually.
That's like 90% of the song is them saying too many cooks. It's kind of the joke, in fact, as well. So
I actually would have been fine with that if it was just that, for, like the wholesome part of it for 7 minutes.
Mhm.
Just more and more people just kept adding into this show. Oh, of course he's got to have more flyers now, and he's gonna pump. He's going to kill me this turn, isn't
Oh
he?
boy,
Yeah,
life is hard.
you're dead. I think what that's 4, 8.
He had me down to 2 with the last flyer you added in.
All right, that should do it.
Wow.
Are you pumping that guy up?
What? No, he's already got lifelink.
Oh, Sanguine
Yeah.
Blood kills me. This is fucking bullshit!
Yeah, thank you. The Inferno Titan still worse.
I'm
It's the
not
worst
trying to
in this?
compare them, it's just bullshit because my deck's actually good and he kills me too fast before I can actually
I
use
did
it.
that. Wait,
This is the
how did
third game I've tried to be able to use this deck
Oh,
properly.
I'm a fucking idiot. It doesn't double the damage, it just doubles the lifelink. I'm actually stupid. That's rude.
Yeah. A bit.
It's a bit rude.
Too
Slightly.
many cooks.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks.
At the best I could do next turn, if I get the optimal shit, I can only kill 3 of his 4 creatures.
That's a lot of kills.
And I didn't get the optimal card, so it's not happening.
You do your best.
Do your best.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
He's wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Roughing it all.
Rough and a doll. Are you making me sacrifice?
Oh, sacrificial.
Rude.
Doesn't matter.
Not entirely, no. At all.
Yeah. Too many cooks. Too many cooks.
This whole episode
Too many
is
cooks.
the Too Many Cooks
I
episode.
kind of wish that I didn't make that joke now.
It really is quite catchy.
Takes a lot to make a stew.
Huh. I wonder if Rob will pose significant enough of a threat that he would not attack me with both of those. Very highly unlikely.
Why would I attack you?
I don't think he's
No,
gonna
no,
attack.
that Austin would attack me and leave
Oh yeah, no.
Oh,
Happen.
because you're
yeah.
down low enough in creatures that like you
I
might
would try
need
to like,
block.
you know, be like, no, I can't. But no, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, he's gonna kill you.
I'm gonna kill you real hard.
Yeah.
It sucks because Rob took my doubly dooley, or I could probably kill both of you in one turn.
Yeah, I'm glad that I did that, honestly.
Fair game.
6.
Yeah. It's sanguine blood.
Yeah.
Sanguine
Will
blood.
you just not
It's just
make
you know what it is?
another
Is it's
deck?
like it's not that bad if you're playing one-on-one. In multiplayer, it's just the worst.
Well, in this
Well,
game, I
Sanguine
didn't
Blood
actually
only-
do anything about it. I just basically
Sanguine-
just fought him.
Sanguine Blood only targets one, so it's
No,
actually...
I mean the deck really.
Oh,
Or
right,
thing,
right.
Yeah.
No, but I was just 1v1ing him, really. Like, I wasn't even considering you, and it still turns out this way. I mean, there's so few turns for him to have all this shit out already.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem like this is just a really lucky draw. This seems to be the case every game we play.
I haven't had Viscopa in a while.
Viscopa of the Guild Mage. He's a Guild Mage. His name is Viscopa. Or is he from Viscopa? That's the question that we really need to ask.
I don't know.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks.
Okay, should be right here.
Did you not kill Nick? Oh, he did.
No, he did.
Okay.
All right.
Alright. So, the question is, what do
Titan. Sorry.
So I get,
Uh,
like, 3 turns, then. And if I don't have things that can block flyers and also destroy enchantments, like, I just can't play.
Well, the
yeah, but-
flyers are the big ones.
Because I have things that can block and deal with flyers, I just didn't get enough mana to be able to summon my own defensive area and also kill your flyers.
It was really actually super lucky that I had both Radiant Fountains and the the doubling lifelink one, because if I didn't have either of those, none of this would have happened. Because Radiant Fountains only give 2. And I need 4 to get the flyers.
I think I just lose no matter what because of his Copa Guildmage here.
Well, you've got only 2 flyers, and he's got 3, so that by itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could get rid of 1.
You'd have to get rid of all 3 somehow. Because or get rid of Viscopa.
Yeah.
Or get rid of Viscopa and one of them. But then
that's what I would need to do. I need to get rid of Viscopa and one of them, and
then
I
you'd
don't
have
really
to block, and you'd lose your Royal, and I'd get back my 2/7, and then you'd still be screwed the next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, life is fucking hard. Oh, wait a second. No. I don't think that'll help me either.
You do have a lot of land and 6 cards in your hand, so I would think thered be some kind of backup strategy, but it's really hard to deal with anything that Austin has.
I don't think I've won in like 2 or 3 games.
I don't know. I'll try this, I guess.
Who's this big guy?
Yeah.
I just got.
Because you're just gonna like Viscopa me, and although. Oh no, I guess there would be no reason for me to do that.
Low on time, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I died. I lost.
What would the big guy have done?
Well, he's got reach.
Oh, okay.
The other opportunity is I had Sirikar Banisher, so I could have removed one of the angels from the game, and then I also had Switcheroo, which I could have done as well, but that also wouldn't have kept me alive, so pretty much just lost.
Alright, so things I gotta remember. Kill artifacts, kill enchantments, kill flyers, or
Kill
get flying.
Austin, I think,
Kill
is the main.
everything.
Yeah.
All of my creatures should have flying, I guess. Flying and death touch
I am
is what's the downside of that.
dead. Yeah.
Well, in brighter news, in 2 days, we all get to enjoy a new Telltale game.
Who cares?
Is the Game of Thrones coming out?
Coming out in 2 days. 1 day for viewers.
I thought
Holy
Borderlands just
shit.
came out.
I think it did, but
So,
Game
like-
of Thrones one comes out in 2 days too.
That just happened, though.
That's awesome. I am excited for that. That's
I
gonna
am
be fucking sweet.
Extremely excited for that.
Is it voiced by the TV actors?
I think so. I know in
Yeah.
the trailer that Lena Headley or Lena Heath. How do you say her name?
I
Lena.
think it's Lena Headley. I'm pretty
Lena
sure.
Headley. She was in the voiceover for the fucking trailer. So I don't know if it's all the actors, but I know she was at least doing that.
Yeah, I mean they use the actors' likenesses at least, so I would assume that they would use the voice actors as well.
Probably not Arya, though, because she doesn't know how to play Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, she fucking sucks at that. Fucking kids these days hating
They
on
don't even know what a
Mario.
Nintendo is. They don't even know you gotta push the cartridge down or where the
Okay,
slot
that's
is.
stupid. All right,
They
everyone
don't
uses
know
a
about
toaster. You know how to do that.
I mean, I will say though with the cartridge stuff, I
Okay.
don't know if that's specific. I don't think that that's really intuitive.
The worst thing that would happen is you put it in the wrong way one time, and then you go, "Oh, I need to flip it around," and then you're like, "That's not like."
Yeah.
Like you literally
There was that
there's
one
not
kid-
that many options. Okay, you
The-
can't go vertical. Clearly, so you
I was-
clearly it has to go in horizontally. And then when you realize you can't close the top, oh, maybe it goes down. I mean, a 4-year-old could figure it out.
I remember
I'm with
though there
Austin
was
on
that there was that one kid in the video that I was really impressed by. How I was like, oh, the game wasn't starting, and he was like, oh, I know about this. I have to blow in the cartridge.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I read
yeah.
about that in the ancient manuscript they fucking unearthed from the tombs of Tutankhamun.
Yeah, I read that in my social studies textbook. You're supposed to blow in the cartridge to get games to work. Is there anything that says that actually was a thing? Like you needed
No.
to?
They actually
that?
said the opposite. Nintendo said that doing that could cause damage to the cartridge because of the moisture from blowing on it.
Yeah,
And they said
like-
that it simply didn't do anything, when in reality is everyone that's ever used that console knows that it did actually work.
It seemed like it. I mean, like unless it was
I have one. It did work.
bias.
I can confirm
Yeah.
firsthand it works.
I know, me too. Like that.
Do it. It wasn't like holding down A trying to catch Pokemon, all right? It worked, all right? It was
The other thing is if the blowing on it doesn't work, the next step you go to is edging slightly away from the connector by pulling the game out a little bit further and then pressing it down, meaning putting the label as close as you could to the front of the Nintendo system. And then pressing it down. That actually made a difference for me, too, because the connections...
That's an advanced maneuver. I don't know if I knew about that.
Second gen, learning. They did actually have another Nintendo system that was like a top-loader version, but that one's just... It's not classic the same way the original was.
It's not, no.
I think it worked better, though.
You get, like, the custom-made toaster one. I think, what's his name? Angry Video Game Nerd has that.
Oh, that's cool. I've seen people like take apart the Nintendo case and just make use basically like a laptop and just make it like just for make their custom OS on Linux for just emulation, So it looks like a Nintendo and you plug in like an Xbox controller or something, or you have like a converter so you could plug into a.
Yeah, I did that on PS2.
Did you part the? Well, I mean, yeah, but it's like they made it look like an NES, which is pretty cool.
That seems like so much work, though.
It is a lot of work, yeah.
You could just go, get in your phone and download an emulator or something.
Yeah, not if Nintendo has anything to do with it. And I'm sure that'll stop that from ever happening again, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
No one's ever
going to attempt to emulate Nintendo after this.
It's funny because it's like I don't see how they're like, oh, we see a lot of people really want to play our games on other machines.
Yeah, let's double down.
Instead of making all that money, let's fuck everyone over. Because you know what? If Nintendo had some sort of like proprietary program on the PC that was just like, hey, play all these Nintendo games, like in iTunes, I think that would sell really fucking well. I mean, look at like GOG. GOG's whole thing, or at least initially, was that it made old PC games run on modern devices, and like they did really well doing that. Well, yeah, you could do that too, but like GOG just like actually ported them to modern machines, and people bought them, and it did really well because people want to play those old games because they're still really good.
Yeah. Can I play devil's advocate for Nintendo though? I want to say that probably their thinking, and this would be my thinking if I was them, is playing games on iOS sucks almost unilaterally. Like, you can't have a good control system, and the only way around that is to use a Bluetooth controller, which I think they would say 90% of their user base wouldn't bother with. They just use whatever, overlay screen touch controls that there are, and that would just reduce most of their brands to garbage, which I'm kind of on their side in that respect. It would really cheapen the experience greatly and make a lot of them almost unplayable. Yeah, I'd remember doing that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree. And they're definitely a company, obviously, that cares about, their brand management and keeping everything making everything their own way. So it's just really lame.
You guys, speaking of Nintendo, have you played Smash Bros. Yet?
I have not. I have yet to play it.
I am so fucking awful at Smash Bros. Like,
I could wreck you.
The controls are so unintuitive to me. I can't get my head around them.
I can't either, and it's so weird to me because I wouldn't say that I'm good at every video game. No one's good at every video game unless you're Biznap or something. But like,
that's true.
You like, I would say that if I put my mind to a game long enough, I can at least be average at 99% of video games if I actually put effort into it. And so all weekend I've been putting effort to try to be okay at Smash, because that's all I had at my house, and I can't even beat CPUs still. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
I played 100 matches. I don't think I'm any better than I was before
I miss every attack. I don't know how to roll. Rolling, like,
rolling is super important.
You press the button and you do this and you roll. No, you don't. It doesn't work. It never works. Just doesn't work.
The CPU is uncanny dodging ability pretty much every single time. They'll shield and then they'll just like phase through all your shots and then they'll kill you.
Like,
these fucking
and
noobs.
It's weird because I feel like I play Dota really well, and Dota is the same kind of, very reflexive, fast-paced, reaction time and all that, but nah, I still can't do it at all. Like,
back in my heyday when I was really good at Melee, it was like a rite of passage to do the test of doing a team battle 3v1 level 9 CPU and beat them.
It's like getting initiated into a gang.
Yeah,
like
pretty
you
much.
gotta
Yeah.
get beat the shit out of by 3 other people.
Well, once you're able to accomplish that, you're right on the cusp of the next level of like being actually good at the game, which is
It's just weird because like moving is so awkward. Like you can't move accurately. He either goes one speed or a fast speed, or slow or fast. So if you want to go from point A to B, you have to go from like point A either to point C or point A point 5, and then maybe you can go to C and then back to then you get to B. It's like just trying to get from one point to another that's not like a distance that the character can go is like fucking impossible, and that makes it really awkward.
It feels laggy, doesn't it? All the controls feel like
Yeah.
they take a while for the input to register.
I agree.
that might be the classic controller doing that though, like the input delay.
What?
Yeah,
I like the pad actually. The pad's actually really nice.
When you say the pad, do you mean the Pro Controller?
no, the
That's
giant
that's
ass
what I was-
touchscreen.
Oh, the tablet.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, there's the Wii Remote, or the Wiimote. There's the Pro Controller, which is the 360 one, and there's the tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to use the correct words, because there's so many controllers that I have no idea what anyone's ever talking about.
This is why I want the GameCube one, because the thing is, if you're
Yeah,
using the
yeah.
GameCube,
$300 lying around.
well, if you use the GameCube controller makes sense for Smash because the buttons are laid out in the way that it totally makes sense for Smash, because it's the big giant A button and then the B button. Like really, at the end of the day, Smash is designed to be sort of like a 2-button fighter for the most part. I mean, you have the rolling and the moving on the sticks and all that stuff and whatnot. But it really is it's really, you know, it's supposed to be very simplistic in that it's like a 2-button fighter. There's only 2 buttons to attack, and then it's like a very like fluid combo system where it's like you make your own combos and stuff. There's no like preset designated. Well, I mean, there are, but like there's not like you have to type in, you know, the Konami code in order to shoot a fireball or something. It's right. You know, there are specific combos to each character that are, you know, obviously pre-designed, but it's still like a fluid combo system. You could go into anyone out of anyone kind of thing, and I don't know. It's really, I used to love Smash a lot. I played so much fucking Super Smash back in the day. It's my favorite fighting game series of all time, and I really do want to play the new one, but
it's
well,
good,
my Wii
but
doesn't have good Wi-Fi, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you also get the wireless, the LAN adapter if you need to do that, but.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I wish that the fucking Wii U came with a goddamn Ethernet port. What the fuck were they thinking? Not putting an Ethernet port in the damn like, how much savings do you really like? That saves Nintendo maybe what, like $5 maybe, putting in the Ethernet cable, and then they transfer that savings onto like more. Like, what are you really saving? Not putting a goddamn Ethernet cable into your freaking console.
It's just a demographic decision, most likely. They figured too few people would need it, so they didn't bother.
Yeah.
What they didn't think about that I think is even a more egregious mistake is not putting an actual decently sized hard drive in the damn thing.
15 gigabytes.
That's bullshit. And then to have
what
a digital
can you do
presence.
with 15 gigabytes?
What do you? They want to encourage people to download shit off their eShop and have digital versions of their games. They're going to give you absolutely no storage space.
It's hilarious because I went on there and they actually tell you at the very bottom of like a 3-page window that you scroll all the way down that you don't have enough space. It doesn't tell you on the foot or in the first thing. You have to scroll all the way down. I had no idea. I was like, oh, well, I can buy things. I have a new Wii U, so I assume if I buy at least one game, I have enough space for one game. I should have enough space for one game. Nope. Smash is 17 gigs. I don't have space for it. For one game. Why? Why would you even offer downloaded games if you don't even have enough space for one game?
That's like an iPod. That's like a first-generation iPod level of space.
It's like... You can
like
have fucking SD cards with like
1999.
250 gigs or some shit. Like, come on, Nintendo. It would not be that more expensive to even go to like 50. 50 would be completely reasonable, and you probably could still sell it for the same price. If I don't know where you like, I don't know if some snake oil salesman told you that you could only do 15 gigs for that price, but you kind of got ripped off whoever you bought your hard drive from. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's flash memory as far as I know, but that's the idea, is right? They want to sell you SD cards, and they're not like they're crazy priced or anything. They're just the extra.
Apparently, like you guys, I'm glad I learned that you guys told me, but you can just plug in any kind of old hard drive and that works. And I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I guess my Wii U just doubled in size, but whatever. At least I can play the game that I bought.
Really, you can plug in any hard drive?
Yeah.
You had to format
That's
it though, right?
nice.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, Nintendo's got like a proprietary format size or style that they use for their consoles.
Yeah, you always have to format hard drives.
Well, yeah, but it's not like you can just plug it in and be like, hey, I have
Right,
a
right.
FAT32 partition on this, it'll just run. Or I have an
Oh, so you-
NTFS partition on this.
You can just use like a thumb drive then, right? Like
Yeah, I guess you could.
That's cool. That's nice, I guess. I mean, you know,
God, you could
it'd be
probably
nice
fit
if they
Smash
just-
on like a fucking 30 gigabyte flash drive. That's like one
Smash
the
Flash.
size of their console.
Nintendo.
Anyway, going back to Smash, I'm kind of bummed out because I'm not really having fun with the game, even though it's real good. Because I can't do anything. I can't win
Don't
anything.
treat it. See, like, don't treat it like a pro game. You know, like I know it is.
Win the fucking CPU shit. Like when you fight Master Hand, I can't even beat Master Hand.
Oh
Wrecks
man,
my fucking face, dude.
you remind me of my childhood.
Dude,
You-
like they kind of went crazy with.
Did you guys 100% melee back in the day? That's one of the
think
that's
so.
one of the few games
I
that
unlocked all the
100%.
characters. Like I could do that at least. So
You unlocked all the. Well, did you unlock all the stages? Like, did you unlock Final Destination?
Yeah, I should have. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
was
because
trying to
the
remember
reason
that,
that because the reason that I say is because you in order to do that you have to beat all 50 challenges, and then the last challenge is Giga Bowser, which is fucking hard, or it was hard to like young me. Where Giga Bowser, like, basically if you get hit twice you're done, and also like it's Giga Bowser and I think Zelda. Like, I think Zelda is also fighting you with this giant ass fucking... And you're fighting on Final Destination, and Giga Bowser takes up about half the stage. So you have to beat him while not getting hit, and you have to kill the other thing, and you have to win.
Dude, every time
obviously.
you say Giga Bowser, I'm thinking that's Nintendo's own proprietary memory system that you need. Like, you need like 25 Giga Bowsers to install that Super Smash Brothers game. Like, come on.
That would be amazing.
They have blocks already, but come on.
Yeah. So anyway, that was hard. And if you have trouble fighting the regular CPUs, now, granted, like I don't doubt that. I'm sure they made the CPUs harder in the new game. I mean, the AI is undoubtedly better, right? Because it's 2014.
They beat me, so I guess.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. I would only have a problem when I had to get to the unlock characters. For some reason, they always beat me once before I beat them back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
There's also a lot of characters that are kind of just like alt swaps of other characters.
Yeah, I agree. There seems a lot of very similar
There's like
characters.
5 different Pokemon and like 5
Well, the
different
Pokemon are all pretty
Japanese
different,
kids
actually.
with big swords.
I see. That's the like
Yeah.
Fire Emblem and Xenoblade ones are really similar, but all the Pokemon, like Charizard's like super heavy fighter, and Greninja's like a medium, and Pikachu's like a small.
But then
And,
there's like Zelda and Sheik, which I know we already had before, and then there's Samus and Zero Suit Samus, which are just... I know they're different, but like it's
Those
the
are
same
different,
character
yeah.
in a different
Yeah, I
suit.
wish they would have tried a little, done some
And
more.
There's Mario and Dr. Mario, which are the same character with a different performance style.
Yeah,
Like,
they actually
there's more
brought back
characters
Dr.
out
Mario. They brought Dr. Mario back in, though, because people fucking like flame the shit out of them in Brawl for not having Dr. Mario in it. So
Okay.
in that case, the community was like, "We need Dr.
And
Mario."
there's also
Well, they
Pit
did
and
that
Dark
from
Pit.
Mewtwo too.
There's Pit
Yeah.
and Dark Pit.
I haven't
Like,
unlocked
that's
Dark Pit
the
yet.
same character again.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Dark Pit. There are so many other things. Like, I don't think he was even a character in any of those games, which there are 2.
He was only in the DS one, as far as I know.
Was he in the DS? Okay,
I
well,
think so.
even it's like there's so many other things you could do. You could do Ridley from Metroid. That would be
It would've been
cool.
awesome. But Ridley's kind of massive.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could do a big character. I mean, they have other characters.
He'd be like 5 times bigger than Charizard. I don't know how that would really work.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
'cause Ridley's
I'm with
in the
you on
game is like a stage obstacle at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I'm with you on the like the anime, androgynous male sword characters. Although there's that one that seems really cool where you like switch your style. Like there's you can switch to like power or agility and stuff, and that seems kind of cool. I
I'm
don't know
just
how that
saying
works.
they don't really feel like Nintendo properties the same way.
Yeah,
Like, these are
I'm
supposed to
totally
be
with
the
you.
vaunted huge deal, like the grandiose whatever Nintendo's big thing is, and then we've got all these dudes that, like, I've never even heard of a bunch of them because I haven't played Xenoblade or Xenosaga or whichever thing they're from, or Fire Emblem.
Was at a place was fucking Metal Snake or Snake from in the last game. That was fucking out of place and weird.
And, you know, it's bizarre. I never thought I would see the day where we're seeing a video game where we can play as all Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, and Pac-Man in the same game fighting each other. Like, that's some amazing licensing work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, why is Pac-Man in the game? What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Duck Hunt Dog is apparently a really good control character as well, which is cool.
I unlocked him. I haven't tried him yet.
Well, playing his type of character is like really difficult because it's all about like juggling and like item management stuff. And he's really strong though. If you like, I saw a pro play him and he was playing against a fox and the fox just couldn't touch him. Like he just couldn't get near him. I mean, when he did get near him, Duck Hunt Dog died, but like the rest of the time he just couldn't get near him. So
I can get near people, but then they just hit the shit out of me, and I can't do anything.
He summons gunmen from Hogan's Alley to act as like barriers between you and the characters, so that like you just keep moving around and putting barriers between you. And then I guess they shoot him.
Well, there's that, but it's also the little top thing that he can use that you can pick up and whatever you can block.
Is Rob, isn't it? The robot guy.
It's no. Rob has a top, but there's like a thing, like a you know what it is? He's got the clay pigeon, so that's like a long range projectile that he can use, and then there's another thing that he can put down in front of him, and then he can pick it up and throw it. And that you know what it is? It's something that explodes. So basically, you can drop. Oh, it's a can. That's what it is. It's a shooting. It's like a can that you shoot multiple times in the air, kind of thing. And it explodes. And basically you can drop that in front of you and block all projectiles from a distance and then hit them with clay pigeons to get the extra percentage up, and then use the can to blow them away, and then also use the gunmen. And the gunmen are like random, so like there's like 4 or 5 of them that do different things. And if you aim it properly and you get the right gunman, when they're at high percentage, they just die. And basically by playing keep away the whole game, you can do that. You can get them to high percentage without them even touching you, and then kill them. So it's an interesting character.
I guess it's experimental, and I suppose it makes sense that it's the final unlock that you get.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's for 100 matches you get to fight him.
Yeah, it's an interesting character, but it's like a really high skill ceiling character. What's really annoying is they don't have fucking ice climbers in the game, which is like...
Oh, that's actually a good point. I forgot about them.
Yeah. You know why they don't have them in the game?
Licensing?
No, they couldn't get it to work properly on the 3DS. So because they wanted parity between the two games...
Why wouldn't it work?
I don't know. I think it was like some kind of a memory constraint is what they were saying.
What?
Yeah, they couldn't get the ice climbers to work.
That is weird as fuck. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and then so they removed it from the Wii U version as well because they wanted parity between the 3DS and the Wii U. Which I want to say, by the way, that staggered release, like the reason I'm not like super hyped for Smash and I haven't like immediately gone out and purchased it is because like the hype was kind of killed for me a bit by that month earlier release on the 3DS.
It was, so weird. Definitely buy both, right? That's why they did that?
Yeah, no, obviously.
Because if you just had the Wii U version, like, why would you buy the mobile one after that?
Yeah.
That didn't work on me. I mean, I only have the Wii U version, and I have no interest in buying it on DS, because how many times am I ever going to play that?
Yeah, I don't even
want to play it on DS. You can play on your freaking Wii U gamepad. It's even better.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then they further incentivize it by telling you should have it on both so you could unlock a character. Come on.
Yeah, that's such bullshit.
Well, I learned more about that, and apparently it's also, like, if you don't own it on the 3DS, it's going to be also paid DLC. So,
yeah, I figured it would be, but still.
Yeah, then at least it's not. I thought you just absolutely had to have both. I did more understandable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like if it was that, if it was that you actually had to have both, then that's like $400 DLC, and that's
Whoa.
ridiculous.
DSs are not that expensive.
Oh, how much is a 3DS
They're like
XL?
$150 or something. They're not 300.
A 3DS XL is $150?
Well, you don't have to buy the XL.
Well, I don't want to play on a fucking tiny
That's
little
you.
screen.
I'm saying the cheapest you can get it is less than $300.
Okay, fine. So the range of the DLC is like $200 to $400. Like either way, it's not a very good price DLC.
3DS XL is only $250 though, isn't it?
I don't remember what the price is. I mean, I haven't ever priced one. I'm not buying more DSs.
$330 on Newegg.
I think I got mine on sale.
Maybe.
They come down, and there's always new versions of them like every other year. So
yeah. It's just I want to play like the 3DS XL has, or the 3DS has like a really like a really strong library. I think like it has a bunch of games that I really want to play, but I don't want to play on that tiny little fucking screen. Like why can't I just hook it up to my goddamn fucking Wii U and play it on a big TV like a reasoning adult? I don't get it.
because you can't. That's why.
Yeah.
I will say that the 3DS XL though, the screen's totally big enough. It's absolutely massive for a
Yeah,
handheld.
it's big enough, but like I'm fucking sitting at like what?
No, I know. Like I agree. I don't like playing on it, but it's the best handheld screen size you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Besides, wait and see what the new 3DS is going to offer. Maybe that'll have something even better.
Yeah.
3DS XXL.
And at the very least, it'll make the older ones cheaper. So
They just sell the Wii U gamepad as 3DSs now.
Oh yeah. Can you even buy those separately yet?
The pads?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know why you couldn't be able to like order them off Amazon or something.
Yeah, you probably
Well,
can.
they weren't selling
wouldn't
them
really
at first.
want to.
They didn't want to
you're
encourage
only-
people to buy two.
Right, yeah, because you can only use one with the Wii U, which again was like, why? Why would
Most
you
likely
do that?
like a
Nintendo?
bandwidth constraint, like they couldn't send that much data at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
'Cause-
think you can buy one.
They're wirelessly streaming your TV connection, which is probably a lot of wireless data.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't steal it on Amazon. That's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
you can't buy them. I didn't think you could.
But what if you need a replacement? That's so
I
fucked.
think you
What
got to
if
go to Nintendo then, and then they're like $150 or something.
Yeah.
As long as you can get them, that's okay. But fuck, if you just like couldn't get one, that you would just not have a console to
You
use.
should buy another one. Just buy the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Pretty strange.
Weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know, man. Nintendo.
We always talk. We love Nintendo. We hate Nintendo, but we actually love just fuck Nintendo.
We love
I
the
know.
ideal version of Nintendo that we hold high in our minds, but not the version that they are right now.
The old Nintendo was wonderful when they
Well,
were
the new
like ahead of
Nintendo
their
is
time.
wonderful, like when you like, if a Nintendo game just popped up on your door and you played it, it's the old Nintendo right there. But
Yeah,
getting
you
the
would like
game, playing the game, setting up the console for the game, doing that, all that's fucked. That's Nintendo. That's new Nintendo. But
Nintendo.
once the game is playing and you have it and it's there, that's old Nintendo.
It's enjoyable. They still make great games. It's just
The thing you just
all the
said, like
other
the setting
shit.
it up and the waiting for it and all of that stuff to then when you finally play it, and then I go, you know, it's all right. It's kind of where I always seem to land lately. And I've
Right, yeah,
fallen
'cause
asleep multiple times waiting for fucking updates now, and I'm really tired of updating everything everywhere I go on
Yeah,
every
it-
system.
I don't
Updates
get
so
that.
much.
I don't get why they do that. Where it's like, yeah, you can't play your games unless you have our update because we added a new, pop-up ad for you to buy a new
It took
thing.
40 minutes for me to play the game when I wanted to play Smash Brothers. I'd had to update the console, then update the game.
Believe me, I didn't even get to play my Wii U when I first got it because their servers were down and
Right.
couldn't play it. And it's like, well, then what the fuck is the point? I couldn't even play the disc because it wouldn't play without the update. So I had a disc and a console, both of which should be, like, exclusively able to play these fucking things. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't play the game on the first day. Just couldn't play the Wii U. It's like, well, like, what the fuck is the point of a console then? Like, what's the point of me having this fucking console then?
It's like
If
a
I can't
weird
even play the
backwards
game.
version of like always on DRM in a way. If you just make the game have to check for a certain update that you don't have, and you need an internet connection to get that update, still you basically have to be online to get that update, so that's the check.
Yeah.
This is some classic Magic the Gathering here. Somebody in my comments on the last episode was like, you guys haven't done any kind of podcast shit because you've been too busy talking about fucking Magic. Hey, we're back to hating on Nintendo. I hope you're happy.
Yeah. This is like the podcast that like for recently has been like, 80% of it has been flame Nintendo.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally fine
but
with.
We all keep buying Nintendo things.
I know!
That's the anomaly that is Nintendo. We fucking hate them, but holy shit, we have to play those games.
I know, it's so weird, because it's like...
Bayonetta 2 is fucking good,
side. So... Yeah, it's like the corporate side Nintendo, awful. Developer side Nintendo, beautiful.
Generally okay.
The last people that are doing those kind of games, and it's fun.
We really have to be careful with this aggrandizement because they're just, like, really okay. It's not like they're doing phenomenal stuff, mostly.
I don't know. I mean, the last, couple of Nintendo games that I played, like Donkey Kong Country Returns, like, that was really cool. Like, that was a really good platformer. That
3D Land was one of the better platformers ever, I would say.
I haven't played that. Yeah, I haven't played that, but I heard it's good. Yeah. They're making... seriously, Returns is, like, really good. It's, like, actually, like, a really good game.
I thought everything after Galaxy has been kind of downhill in terms of platformers.
Yeah, all the stupid 2D ones, like... See, the issue with 3D World is that it's kind of 2D-y. It's that kind of top-down,
and that's like won't go for actual 2D. They've always got to make it this hybrid thing, which doesn't work as well.
But see, the way they made the game, they made it mesh. They made the game go well with that style. They didn't just be like, oh, we want it to look like it works. Right. It's a beautiful game. It looks amazing, and it's just kind of fun. It's not. There's no fun in it. It's just fun.
Yeah, Returns too. Like it's same thing. Like they do some stuff where they play with the 3D perspective, where you're shooting it from barrels like into the background and forward, and it looks really cool. It's really cool. It's fun. Like the levels are fun and
really
it's difficult. Yeah, it's actually really cool.
That doesn't sound like you went to a 3D movie and they're like, woo, things in the foreground, things in the background. We've never seen this before.
Yeah, obviously it's a gimmick, but then you also go back to like what the old Donkey Kong Country was, and like one of the best parts and the parts that people really remember vividly of Donkey Kong Country was the minecart levels, right? Because those were really interesting and cool. But at the end of the day, it was just a gimmick. You're just pressing A over and over again. Like it eliminates the rest of the platforming stuff. So it's like also just totally a gimmick. But that's sort of what those Nintendo platformers do. Is a bunch of like really cool little gimmicks that look fun, and they are fun, and stuff like that. And the moving from the foreground and background, and then the silhouette levels where it's like Donkey Kong is a silhouette except for his tie, and I don't know, it's cool.
The music really one and like the factory level was like the coolest level in any game. It's real good.
It's cool. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, and what was the other one? I know it was 3D World. Mario Kart was amazing. The only reason I haven't played Mario Kart is because honestly, it's like you need to have other people to play with. And that's the whole point.
Mario Kart, I have almost nothing bad to say about. That one's fine.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Well, I mean, it does what it set out to do. It's just, it is the thing it's supposed to be. It's not like it's fucking amazing. It's just, it's a good version of Mario Kart that you can play online.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I'm fine with that, too. Like,
there's no like lag online. It's one of the like most smooth online experiences I've played.
It looks good. It plays fine. It controls fine. It works properly, which is great. And it's nice that happens. It's just that one thing perfectly done doesn't mean though that like the whole company's fucking amazing again. It's just they made a game that they made 8 other times or 7 other times.
Like for Nintendo, they need to. Like we want, like that's the thing though, is what we want them to do that though. Like I like when Nintendo tries something new, like the original Bayonetta. From that was nice to see that. It was nice to see what was the other
Platinum
new thing
made that. I mean,
well, yeah, but Nintendo it was a Nintendo game. You couldn't get it anywhere else. But
the original Bayonetta. I thought you meant the decision to include the original game with Bayonetta 2.
No, I meant the original Bayonetta.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a Platinum game that came out on 360. What do you
mean?
Yeah,
it wasn't. Yeah, it was never on Nintendo.
That was
Oh,
not a Nintendo. It
thought-
was exclusive actually to everything but Nintendo until the second one came out.
Really? I thought it was still exclusive to Nintendo.
Nope.
Yeah. The
No,
second
I had
one
it on
is-
360.
Why the hell's the second one exclusive to Nintendo?
Oh,
I don't
there's
know.
the
They
question of
must
the
have made a
fucking
deal.
day,
Yeah.
right?
That's so weird.
Right?
Nintendo probably paid a lot of fucking money for that.
I
is
guess,
what
but why would
happened.
Nintendo do that?
The game about
Like,
the witch that shows your butthole and gets naked all the time is exclusive to Nintendo. Why is that
You know
a
what?
thing?
I see.
You
I
know
could
what
have
it might have
sworn the
also
first one
been?
was. That's so
Nope.
weird.
What it might have also been too is that like maybe the company that was making Bayonetta didn't necessarily want to make a new engine, and they could just use the last gen stuff for the Wii U, because you know the Wii U is like a generation behind graphically.
I was told they
So-
couldn't get funding from anyone but Nintendo.
Oh, really?
So that's why it
that's
happened.
probably it too. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's probably what happened there. Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway, my point was that we do want Nintendo to keep making Mario and Zelda and all that. But the issue is that they only make Mario and Zelda and Donkey Kong. Their other just as good franchises are just kind of left behind.
They don't even
It's
make
stupid.
Zelda and Donkey Kong either. Like they just make Mario, and then sometimes, you know, once in a console cycle, you'll get a Zelda game.
Well, yeah, because they spend like 5 years on
Oh,
their Zeldas now.
They also have plenty of spin-offs too. They had that Toad thing, and they have made a third Pikmin at least finally,
that
which we're
Toad
happy
one,
about.
did that come out? Because that actually looked way better than I thought it could be.
Maybe.
Because
It looked-
I remember seeing it like at E3, and I was like, I guess that can only be as good as the levels in Mario 3. Because I played those levels in Mario 3D World, which is where they come from. And I was like, well, those were cool, but
Right.
what can you do with those? But then I watched the trailer, and it actually looks really interesting, and like they've taken it very far. So I don't know. Maybe it could be better than I thought it could be. It still can't be that great because it's really just platforming, and you literally can't jump. Toad can't jump. That's the shtick.
Platformer where you can't jump.
Yeah, it's the levels were fun and interesting, but like I said, I didn't think you could take it very far. But it looks like they've been able to do more than I thought they could.
They have made a lot of
Park-
Kirby games with different gimmicks in them too.
That's
Let's
weird,
not forget
too.
about
Just-
that. They will
the
not make a
Kirby-
Kirby
yeah.
game that doesn't have a fucking textile gimmick.
Kirby's
I
like
don't-
one of my least favorite because it just seems so like all the platformers have their own kind of special thing to it. Kirby just doesn't seem to have that. Kirby, to me, just
Oh, he has the transformations.
That's
Those are pretty
that
cool.
is the thing Kirby has is transforming
Yeah.
into a 1,000 different enemies that you find, and they should have really focused on the element of collecting those, like fucking
Yeah.
Pokemon. But what they did is just made it be about fabric.
Well, and there was also that. What was the one? The one on the N64 was the Crystal Shards, I think, and that
Right.
one had that one you can hybrid them, right? Where well, unless that was always in a Kirby game, but like
I think I remember that.
yeah,
You
you could get
blend
two
them together.
different. Yeah, you blend them together and get like a really cool.
That was
hybrid
really
one.
cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. It was really fun.
Why didn't I remember that? Because I know I've played that. I guess I never
Yeah.
owned that game. I must have rented it.
Don't forget about the air surfing one too.
Oh, Air Ride was, dude. I don't know anything about the main game of Air Ride, but like City Rush or whatever was so fun. That's
How
all
did they
I
come to
played.
that conclusion though? The thing Kirby was missing was a surfing game.
Well, because he rides on stars.
Yeah, as a transition between platforming levels, but
Well,
that's
that's
not how
where it
you come
came
to that
from.
conclusion.
Like I said, I have no idea how the actual race portion of that game was. I heard it was okay, but the fucking City Rush was so much fun. In Smash Brothers, when you get the fucking like 3 Kirby pieces for the thing, that's from Air Ride from the City Rush one, where if you got those 3 pieces and got that board, you got a super overpowered board when you went to the fight mode, and you won basically. It was real fun. I hours into just that mode of that game.
You know what I really want is I really want a new Star Fox game, and I want a real
know.
Star Fox game.
You know, Rob.
I want a real one.
We know all
We all
about
do,
it.
Rob. We all
I
do.
just want a real one.
No, I don't really care one way or the other, honestly.
Well, I know I want my new Metroid.
I really only want a 2D Metroid game. That's it.
No,
Like
it needs to
everything
be
else Nintendo
3D.
does, I could give a fuck less about at this point.
Oh, why would you 2D? They have so many 2D games that are so limited because they're
That'd
2D.
Because they try to make them hybrid 3D and they fail.
Well, now fuck that. Go back to the Prime. That's real 3D. Good 3D is good. Is real good.
I think honestly, Metroid Prime would do really well today, like because
It's
What is
like,
the future
Metroid
for that?
Prime-
So you're gonna point at everything with your fucking tablet? You're gonna do scanning
that's-
with your
well, no,
tablet? that's
that's-
gonna be
that's
so annoying, and they're
annoying. Yeah.
definitely gonna put that in.
That's what's gonna be in the game, yeah. But we're thinking about like
See? It can't be
imagine if
done.
they did- Yeah, I know, but we're imagining a world where Nintendo stops shitting in our mouths and
You
decides
can't imagine
they're
that
just
world doesn't
these-
exist, Rob. That world is
I
dead.
know.
No,
I
Nick.
remember reading about. I remember
Possible.
reading, it was after E3, and I was reading about Starfield. I think we even talked about this in the Magic episode, where like I was reading about like so one of the Nintendo guys was like, yeah, we're looking at actually going back and doing another Star Fox game. And I was
That
like,
was Miyamoto.
yeah, I'm so excited. And then he was saying like, but we've been trying to get the motion controls to work, and we couldn't really get it on the Wii, but now we got the motion controls really working well on the Wii U, and it's like, no, stop it,
Oh.
fucking stop
Oh,
it,
God.
please.
I just had a gestalt of what the
Why?
next Metroid game's gonna be. It's gonna be a 2D hybrid one where on the tablet you're seeing the first-person view. And I'm gonna
No.
throw up in my mouth for even thinking of that.
I just want Metroid Prime 4.
They're gonna
or,
go,
you know,
we can
let's-
please everyone.
Let's just have Metroid Prime 3 and forget that the old 3 ever happened and the other M, but that actually didn't happen. And we'll just go to 3 and it'll be great, and they'll focus on what made the first 2 good and not add voice
What made
actors.
the
for
third
some-
one that did come out bad? It was the motion controls. What do we
Yeah,
now have
no.
inseparably attached to all Nintendo properties? Motion controls. And also a tablet now. And also Amiibo.
I don't know why
What
they
the
doubled
fuck is
down on the
Amiibo?
motion controls. Like, why did they double down on the motion controls in?
Well, why did Microsoft double
on the
down on
Wii
the
U?
Connect? Is another.
Well,
They backed
yeah, that's
off.
another.
They got to
yeah.
double down at least once, and when that double down fails, that's what you lose double. They can't possibly
Yes.
double down again.
I don't like. I just don't get it, Nintendo. Like, you didn't see the 10 years of backlash for the Wii being like shitty motion
No,
controls.
they celebrate it. They put the Wii Fit control, the lady trainer into the into the new Smash.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, there have been a lot of Nintendo games with motion controls on the Wii U. I mean, all of them have been with the tablet and focusing on the tablet, and so far they've worked because they've been simpler games, and the tablet is useful. And for those simpler games, like Mario Kart, you can see all the information about the race, where you're at, and you fucking giant ass horn you can honk. That's fun. But they're focusing that everything should be on the main screen, and your handheld should be a side, like inventory style thing. And they've done well with that, but they still act like they want to do this weird, both screens are going to be, 50-50, you use both of them. That's a terrible idea.
What tells me that they're never going to get this correct is that they have a Wii U Pro controller that works very well and is what I feel to be like the way the game should be, or the UI should be controlled. And yet the actual dashboard on the Wii U can't be used exclusively through that controller, because there's actually options that you can't see unless you have the tablet in your hand. So I'll start the thing up with the start button, with the power button on the Wii U Pro controller, and still have to go get my tablet and hold that in my lap while I use another controller. That's fucking insane! Just let me use one controller at a time. At least it doesn't have to be tethered like it was on the Wii, where I'd have to plug it into the other one, and then just let it sit on my bed next to me while I'm trying to use the other controller. I mean, that's how inergonomic and stupid is that, really?
I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it, Nintendo. I don't get it. I just really hope beyond hope, like the Eye of Thundera, that the new Zelda is good. It's like
I feel like my life hangs in the balance on this next Zelda
it really
game. Like,
does.
it needs to be good.
Where were you for the Skyward Sword moment of this
My
revelation?
heart
'Cause we already
cannot
did
take
this.
another Skyward Sword. No, I wasn't expecting Skyward Sword to be so Skyward Sword. I wasn't expecting. It was a surprise because Zelda had never been bad up until that point. You could never.
Twilight Princess with motion controls was bad.
Dude, it's because you don't. It's because you're stupid. You don't buy the Wii Twilight. The GameCube is the way better version in every way. In every way, it's better just because of the motion controls.
Then they went, okay, we get that was bad. Let's sell you another one where you need to buy an extra peripheral, and it's still bad.
It's still bad. Okay, it was still bad.
So this is strike 3 then.
Yes, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why it's like.
But see, I never even had a Wii Twilight Princess. I still don't own one. I bought it on the GameCube where it fucking belonged, and it was amazing on the GameCube.
Yeah,
they
I
had
actually
motion controls to Wind Waker.
No.
Oh fuck, that would be the worst thing ever.
I haven't played it on my Wii U. I was just wondering if you knew that.
Well, if you want to play it on your Wii U, Nick, that game from 15 years ago, it's $60. So
I saw it for 40. It's been on sale a couple of times.
Oh, they put it on sale now?
Well, not they did, but retailers put it on sale occasionally.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty
Oh.
thrifty when it comes to finding games for not full price generally.
Even so, though, $40 for that game, which, like, what did they do? They added bloom and HDR lighting? Like, that's what they did? That's what made it better?
No,
Like, what?
it's not. Yeah, it's
They
not.
restructured the ending apparently as well, but whatever. If you didn't ever play Wind Waker, that's the proper way to experience it, I would think. No?
Yeah, I would imagine so, yeah. It's probably a better version of the game. I don't doubt that.
I'll go back to this new Zelda because like it's like I don't think my heart can take another bad Zelda game. It just
Yeah,
like
I don't think it can
one
either.
was my
All
limit.
right, well,
that was
set
my
your fucking resolution right now. What are you gonna do when this one's terrible?
if you need to use an if there, all right?
Apparently I do. I don't think I do.
You need a fucking if, all right? You better
I
watch.
really hope it's not terrible.
It's setting up to be so good, which is scary because if it was setting
No
up to just be
information
another
about that.
Zelda and it's bad, it would have been okay. But this one's setting up, it would have been okay, but it wouldn't have been as bad as it's setting it up to be really good
No
and a
information.
slightly different twist on Zelda. It could come crashing down so hard and so fast.
You know, I think honestly, like if the game has like a 3 hour long tutorial again, I don't know.
The Skyward Sword tutorial wasn't even like the Twilight Princess one was way too long, but it was still like all of it was tutorial. Skyward Sword was like 30 minutes and 5 minutes was tutorial and 25 was cutscenes. It's like I really appreciate the Zelda story. There's not a lot of people who can say that because Zelda's story isn't the most solid thing in the world, but that was too much of it because it was all like pre-story stuff and I didn't need to see.
Well, they were setting up the atmosphere, they were setting up the characters, they were setting up the locations. All of that stuff was what was happening in those 25
Yeah,
minutes.
it's stupid because they're setting up Zelda as the main character in that game, and that's real dumb when the main character should be Link, because that's who you're playing as.
Right.
It's real silly.
Also, the constant bothering by the companion that we seem to
Fuck
need to
her.
have in every
Like,
Zelda game since Ocarina
No,
of Time.
Midna was great. Midna was great because
They all bother me.
No, Midna was fine. She
Yeah.
was quippy.
But then
and
they
she
did this
did-
weird digital fusion Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts
that's the
bullshit.
stupid
like,
thing is that-
are we doing a computer simulation or are we in Zelda World?
Fi Fi Fo Fum wasn't fucking quippy. She wasn't funny. She was annoying like all the others, but she was twice as annoying because
Link, I want to
things
tell
that
you
she
about how
said-
to properly fight this monster and what percentage of your accuracy
arbitrary
you had.
percentages.
Like, I
They
don't
were
give
arbitrary. Stop it. Stop it right now.
And
you're
before
supposed
anybody
to feel
calls me
bad
out, I
about her
played like
when she-
75% of the game. So
Spoilers, when she quote unquote dies, even though she doesn't actually die, she just goes away. You're supposed to feel bad. You're like, oh, fuck off. I'm so happy you're gone now.
Ugh.
It sucks because the musical score of her musical score is actually really good, but it comes with a twinge of hate because I don't like her. Even though that specific like the music in Skyward Sword, it's real sad that a majority of it isn't Koji Kondo. In fact, I think like 95% of it isn't Koji Kondo, and it shows because it's really not very fitting. It's not bad, but none of it fits. So like Zelda, and it's a big bummer.
Well,
But
the
there's, like,
main
3 or
theme
4
of the
really-
song is just Zelda's lullaby backwards anyway, so
I don't think that's. I guess it was the main thing.
that's the main theme.
I don't know. I don't remember any of the music from that game. I didn't find it memorable.
Yeah, it's not very memorable. Like I could probably list you every single.
See,
Twilight
that's a
Princess song.
problem. Zelda music needs to be memorable.
Of course.
Like
The
it
characters,
needs
the
to be
locations,
memorable.
none of it is memorable to me. It
If I-
all just feels
like-
generic.
And that's so
Yeah.
weird because, like, for me as a hardcore Zelda fan, I could probably hear any song from any 3D Zelda and tell you exactly where it's
Yeah.
from, at what point in which game. Like, that's how good Zelda music is. And there's, like, hundreds of those songs. But I wouldn't even need to, like, study that to know because the music's just so good and memorable that you're like, you feel that music feels like that area. Right? You can just
Same thing happened to Mario, though. I don't remember any of the songs from those recently either.
Galaxy had, like, 5 or 6 really, really good ones, and the rest was all the same.
Everything after Mario 64, I couldn't tell you where it came from.
Sunshine was good.
I'm not saying it wasn't good, but it was pretty generic as well.
Yeah,
That was the
that
first
was
step,
Really memorable.
I would say.
Yeah, like the new Super Mario Brothers music is just kind of boring too. It's like
It's always these
Oh,
like
that's
weird
that's
little plays
yeah.
on nostalgia because they can't just like find a new blend.
Well,
It's always got to be
3D
thrown
World
back.
3D Land and 3D World have their own kind of themes, and they're very good, I would say.
It's a bit of hypocrisy, isn't it, right? Like, we're always like, oh, we want everything to be the way it used to be, but we also want it to be new and original. But, like, can't they just make some good new shit instead of just making us think back?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like they're not capable anymore.
Yeah, I
Like,
kind of
the
feel that
only
way
new
too.
game is Splatoon, and doesn't even look like an actual, like, it looks really interesting and fun, but it doesn't look like something that'll be a staple like all the other Nintendo games.
Absolutely not. I mean,
I
it's
don't
just a
understand why
multiplayer
people
only
see
game.
that and think this could be anything. I just see it and I'm like, all right, so it's like paintball, whatever.
It looks pretty cool.
It has a lot of interesting concepts that
Yeah.
look cool, but it's not
It's
something
like,
that would be playing.
you know,
It's like
it's
Day
like
Blob.
yeah, but it's like a Nintendo first person. It's Nintendo's Call of Duty. It's like, you
No,
know,
it's
we wanted
not.
to make a first person shooter because first person shooters are popular, but also we want to make it a little bit more creative and a little bit more interesting.
It's not going to be their
So-
Call of Duty. Nobody's going to buy that.
Well, no, I know. I don't mean like Call of Duty as in sales. I mean like it's gonna be our FPS. This is Nintendo's first person shooter. If Nintendo were to
Well,
make a first person shooter,
Sure, but like one of the things that you can't separate from the concept of Call of Duty is that it's this endless war that will just continue on forever because people are intrinsically attracted to military shooting games. I don't think
Yeah.
it'll fall into that same category. It'll just be like for, probably 8-year-olds, 8 to 10.
yeah, I don't doubt that either. I don't think that's the audience they're trying to hit either. But I mean, I'm just saying that that's like, Nintendo is just looking at what's the most popular right now, and it's first person shooters. So
Where's the
let's make
Nintendo MOBA then? Where's the Super Smash Brothers
Yeah.
MOBA?
I'm sure they're gonna make that. I wouldn't doubt it. They probably won't make that.
I feel like anyone making
It's
MOBAs right
Pokemon
now is
phone.
making a mistake. MOBA market's too cornered. Way too cornered to make new.
This is like, yeah,
So,
what's happening in
Blizzard?
the games industry making MOBAs. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing, anybody making MOBAs right now, it's the same thing as when anybody was making MMOs back when World of Warcraft was popular. Which is weird because Blizzard is making a MOBA, like after seeing what happened with World of Warcraft and everybody else trying to bite off the edge of that.
Right, and then they're doing
failing.
the same paradigm in the other direction.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But with the Heroes of the Storm too, and I haven't played enough of it to talk about it too much, but they basically removed metagame from MOBA, which is like
Wait, the thing that makes it MOBA?
right, exactly. Like that's the thing. It's like that because you can't choose your characters to counter other characters because you can't see the other. You queue with the character that you want to play, and then there's no individual gold gained. There's no items to buy either, and it's like a really MOBA light. It's like it's got MOBA elements, but it's like more of like a party game, I think, than
That
it could be
sounds
anything
really weird.
else.
I mean, I'll say
It's-
that they are not going very far with that, but Overwatch looks like something that I want to at least try.
Well,
that they
that's where I
could-
was going with the initial comment, was kind of like their MOBA / FPS Team Fortress 2 kind of idea.
Yeah, it seems really interesting, actually.
I would be interested to play it.
Really
I'll-
seems desperate to me that they're just trying to find these formulas that make money and not actually come up with an idea for a new idea.
That's true too.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening there.
The only reason that we even are okay with those formulas is that you still have to have fun games in a way for those formulas to even work. But it's
Yeah.
still a really shitty way of
They're
going
so
about
transparent.
things.
They're like, okay, so what's the thing we can get possibly that will get us in front of millions of people? It's going to be a MOBA or it's going to be a first-person shooter. That's it. Those are the two options.
Yeah.
Why not combine them, right? Like, we want to become an esport because esports make tons of money. Done.
It's weird too, because the premier esport for a long time even was StarCraft. Every major tournament had StarCraft, and then they really just stopped supporting it.
Mhm.
The whole StarCraft esports scene. It was really, really sad because I loved watching StarCraft esports. For a long time, for years, I've been watching StarCraft esports, and it's great. And they just, I don't know, they just stopped supporting it. I mean, they have that trailer for Legacy of the Void, so I'm gonna play that because I love StarCraft and I love the story, so I'm gonna play it. But I think they really mishandled StarCraft 2.
I feel
for
like
the most
Valve's
part.
going in the same direction with Dota right now. They're just not really supporting it enough. Where
Yeah.
like
Really?
they're kind of
What do
yeah.
they need to do to make it more supported? Because I get updates for it every single day, sometimes twice.
Well, because they're supporting the game to be played, they're not supporting the esports side of it. Like they have their international
What?
every year, and the international does more harm to the overall
It
esport
really does. Yeah.
Dota tournament setting than it does good.
I have no idea what that means.
It sucks
Like
in all the attention and money for Dota esport hype over one big event, and then the rest of the year is very quiet, and it has this you have this big die down period after the international every year, and it's been the same every year. You have this
yeah.
5 6 month period of just no hype. The tournaments are really dull. Players are shifted. They shift teams. They do all this stuff,
It's the off
and
season. It's like
it's a really and every
off
offseason. This has been like the worst offseason. Like Dream League just had their finals. They had like 70K viewers, which is absurdly low for a finals. But I mean, Dream League did really fuck up really hard though, on how they handled their tournament. But
Yeah.
still, 70K for EG Cloud9 finals, which is really hype. That's really low. Those are two huge popular teams that should bring
Well,
a
Can
lot more
things
people.
not ebb and flow, though, year to year? Do they have to always be rising? Can't there be a moment of cooldown before it picks up again?
Well,
Well-
that's the thing is they've created that bubble. Like the bubble happens because of the international.
But if
Yeah, and
there's
this
not
is
one
such a-
big thing to hype up, then there might just be a cooling effect the whole year.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think League of Legends does the LCS is all year, right? It's like it is like a season of a sport, right? And then it culminates in their championship. And while Dota with the international, it's like a month before they have the qualifiers, and then they have the event. Also, I think it's partly because the last international was, I think, easily the worst one.
It was awful.
That is
It was
ever-
actually
and,
awful.
It was really bad.
It
Like
could
it
not
was,
have been worse. It could not have been worse.
The format was awful. Like and that part wasn't even their fault because it was their scheduling. Like they couldn't get the place in Seattle long enough, and it was like so
They fucking had
format was terrible.
finals of their international on a Monday. What the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah,
Like that was the dumbest thing.
and because the format was, and Nick, I know you didn't watch this, but like imagine if the Super Bowl in football, right? If on the first day of the playoffs you find out one of the teams that's going to be in the Super Bowl. It's a fucking terrible, that would be a terrible system. That'd be awful. And it was awful the international. Like we knew on day one who was going to be one of the teams in the grand finals, and it's just like it just kills the hype.
It killed
like
the hype because everyone knew that team was going to win too.
Right, yeah.
Like it was, although the games were all boring. This is the issue with this one big tournament, is because if that tournament's bad, you have all this hype and all this money go into a bad tournament, and this bubble pops like a fucking explosion of sadness, and
That's
And
so
what
far
happens-
removed from anything to do with playing video games, though, that, like, I can't even care one way or the other. That's like, okay, so they mismanaged how they do their tournament, but, like, is the game fun? You guys play it, like, every day.
game's amazing.
Yeah, but the
So
thing
what do
is,
you want?
well, the game is built from the ground up to be an esport. Like it was built with that in mind. Like it launched with spectator, like super spectator stuff, tickets for tournaments. Like it launched with all this stuff. It's built from the ground up to be an esport. So like it needs to be a good esport if it is designed for it. You know.
It's so much fun to watch. It's just as fun to watch as it is to play. It's almost equal. Like I would say, playing it's slightly more fun, but there's just so much about watching it
But
that's just
Is
really.
the argument that if they have a bad year of tournaments with this game, that the game becomes less enjoyable somehow?
No,
Well-
but hype dies down, and then the pro scene will die down. People will move to other games, and
So they're required to keep the hype levels just as high, if not higher, every year, or the game will eventually tank and people stop playing it.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It's just that it leads to the international being that huge bubble that it is. teams don't care. Like I've seen pro players talking about this. Even,
Every pro player
where yeah, where they're saying like after the internet, like the tournaments that are happening right now, they don't have any viewership because even all the pro players are like, yeah, we're not even practicing. Like no one's doing scrims. Like not even in China where it's like on TV and stuff. Like nobody's practicing at all because you don't need to because it's the off season. Like nothing at this point matters because all the teams are going to shuffle players. They're going to get new sponsors before the international comes. The names are going to change. Everything's going to swap around, and none of it matters until like the 3 months before the international. Then everything matters. But after that, like anytime between that, nothing matters in the
And so
esports.
then you have tournament organizers realizing this, and so they all start to plan their tournaments around the same time. This happened last year. They all pile their tournaments right before the international, and then you have these tournaments that are awful because a lot of players have to pick which tournament to go to because there's too many happening at the same time. Scheduling conflicts. There was a huge scheduling conflict with all these teams.
This is why I don't advocate for this style of game to exist. I mean, it's fine that it does, but it literally is so disjointed that you're focused entirely on the corporate and industry side of this whole thing and not if the game is even fun. All this talk is about is just how can we continue marketing for this game? How can we let it wrap itself into an endless cycle of creating more money? Not can we play this, can we have fun with it? I mean, I know you say you can, but it seems like the other side of it is equally, if not larger, than the actual fun side of it.
Well, my end goal isn't money. My end goal is fun games to watch.
Yeah, it's a spectator sport.
And I don't
like it's for
that. I want games to play myself, not games to watch.
Well, yeah.
Well,
but
that's you though. There's plenty of other people who do want these games to watch. Like
you can play basketball like a pickup game on a court, and then you could also watch it and still enjoy that a lot. You'd probably enjoy it more as well, like watching like the whatever it's called, the basketball Super Bowl.
I'm just saying they're two separate categories that don't necessarily blend with each other. Like calling an esport a game, it's not quite the same thing. You want to watch it. You don't want to play it. I want to play games.
I want to do both.
Yeah, I want to do both. And especially if they made the game from the ground up to be both, then
you can watch games while you're waiting to play the game.
But your argument is kind of that if they mismanage the watch side, that the play side becomes less viable.
Well, it just makes it so that the hype for the game goes down.
Yeah. Like when you watch, this happens when you watch a pro game and you watch a pro player do a really cool thing, like does a really cool play or something. It makes you want to play. You want to
emulate it, yeah.
I want to play that hero that he's playing. I want to do that. I probably can't, but I want to try. It's like you watch a football player do something. You want to go play football. You want to try this crazy flea flicker play you saw happen. You know, you want to try that with your players whenever you. It's the same idea.
But you're kind of submitting yourself to being like a slave to the trend of this game being popular in a way, because if everyone abandons it, will you still care to play it?
Well, there's a different like part of that's also bad, because it would be less fun to play the game if less people were playing it, because one, the skill goes way down when that happens, and then two, the queue times for finding a match just go way up.
Say you have a group of people that you always play with, and you have a time that you always set up for a match, so that's not an issue then.
Well, no, I mean, even in that case, it's actually worse because of how the matchmaking system is. Because if less people are playing the game and you're sitting in a 5-stack with people, the game has to queue you against another 5-stack. That's the only way. That's the only way it's fair. So your queue times are going to go up to like 10, 15 minutes. Nobody wants to wait 15 minutes to play in a game.
What I'm arguing for is essentially that they've created from the ground up a situation where players have to advocate for the company to continually make money for their game to even be viable to be interested in. It's the same thing of what they did with World of Warcraft, where it's like, oh, I could be playing this offline RPG, or I could be playing this one online where all my friends can see that I got this sweet loot instead of just having it by myself. It's a self-reinforcing paradigm in a way.
Yeah.
So well, you've been turned into a marketing advocate for them, in essence.
Yeah, well, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with marketing a game that is for free. I'm totally fine with telling people about how I like Dota and I want to get more people to play it. Like I enjoy it. Like it's really fun, and it's a very enjoyable experience because there's so much to learn and there's so much to get better at. I mean, it's pretty incredible as a game that I am. Let me see how many hours I have in Dota 2. I have 1,752 hours in Dota 2, and I'm bad. Like, I'm bad at that game. Like, I'm not good at Dota. Like, there's so much to learn in Dota that it makes you want to learn, and part of the learning and getting better is watching those esports and seeing what the good players do.
Dangerous. It sounds like an addiction to me when you say that. 1,700 hours. Like, who has that kind of time?
Well, really, the amount of time spent playing the actual games is like far less than that, but it's still a lot. But yeah, I mean,
it's like a lifestyle at that point.
It is.
It consumes your life a bit. Yeah, it's a little bit, but
it's the same way with watching football. It's honestly very, very similar in that kind of way.
Except I also get to play this.
It's so much easier to play. Like me trying to play a game of football with 23 other guys.
Impossible.
It's actually impossible.
It's so hard.
It's just football exists outside of the perspective of its user base. Whether or not people are just as interested, there's so many people massively worldwide that love football. It's not going to go away if 1 year it dips.
Well, no. Well, that's the thing, is that if like 50% of people watching football go away, football's not a sport anymore. You know, like if nobody's watching, then it's not a sport anymore. It stops being a thing. Like that's the thing with Dota. Like it does have to grow, because if it doesn't, then it's just gonna be not a thing anymore. And I like it being a thing. I enjoy it being a thing because I like playing it, and I like having competition and stuff. You know.
I guess so. It's just a confusing thing for me. I really don't like basically being an unpaid shill for marketing for somebody in a way. I know it's super deep, and it's like, it's not obvious, and it's entrenched in the way that they've created this thing, but it just creeps me out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm like, a marketer for Dota or anything, but I play it, and I want people to play it and stuff. And
by liking the game, you have to want it to continue to exist, and to want it to continue to exist, you want it to continue to grow. To want it to grow funnels more money in their direction, so in essence, it's an unescapable cycle.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's honestly, not a negative one.
Yeah, right. It's like it's not like it's negative for me as the consumer, and it's also not negative for them. It's really symbiotic, honestly. It's like, I don't, and plus, like, on top of that, the game is totally free, like 100% free.
To clarify, it's not about whether you're spending money. It's more that you're spending time and encouraging the industry to believe that this is now the new way that the industry should go. That many people want to emulate this style, and then eventually how many slices of your time and the pie that is your time get divided up.
Well, I don't...
Dota separates itself from the industry. Like, it doesn't... I don't count it as I count other games. I just don't. It's become something so different from just a game that I don't... And that's why people emulating are stupid, because you're not gonna be Dota. You're not gonna be League of Legends. That spot is taken. You can't have too many more of these. It's just not.
What was Dota before it was Dota? Wasn't it StarCraft?
Well, yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, games come and go, right, but we're to the point where these games have the opportunity to not go. And
why? Why do you know that? That's never happened before.
Right, but because they're getting so popular, and they're not stopping getting popular. Like, StarCraft was never as popular as League is right now.
You just said that Dota was getting less popular.
Now, yes, in the past months, but before then it was still skyrocketing, and it still is growing in a player base. It's just the viewers for watching it has gone down, and that was because of the international.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is that, and that's part of the reason that we're saying, is because League of Legends has like a much larger, like it dwarfs Dota's player base entirely. Even though Dota's player base is it's as many people who played. Yeah, it's like as many people who played World of Warcraft at its peak are playing right now at any given time, right? So it's still a huge player base. League of Legends dwarfs that, and they get more numbers for watching their tournaments, but the ratio is much smaller. Like, the amount of people playing League of Legends versus the amount of people watching the esports of League of Legends is it's a much lower percentage than it is for Dota. Like, for Dota, the percentage is massive. Most people who play Dota, well, maybe not most people who play Dota, but a lot of people who play Dota watch competitive Dota as well, because it's interesting to watch. I'm not saying that League of Legends competitive isn't interesting to watch, but I'm just saying that, like, that one's more of like a game that you can pick up and play with your friends, whereas Dota's more of a this was built from the ground up to be a sport kind of thing,
So you said the League of Legends playership right now dwarfs Dota.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
But I mean, the thing is though with the League of Legends is they don't have the numbers easily accessible. They don't show the numbers, they don't back up the numbers, and they just say them from time to time. So, I don't know how much of that you can take to be serious, but obviously League of Legends is just a bigger game in general. I mean, it's massive in China,
Right.
absurdly huge in China, and Korea too. Yeah,
It is literally they had the LCS or whatever in the biggest Korea stadium in Korea, and it was like one of the biggest stadiums in the world, I think.
yeah. I mean, seeing that the pictures of that was like insane.
It's a massive stadium.
I'm just thinking how you compared it to the player base that WoW had or has, and then comparing Dota and League of Legends to that number. Like, games can go away if that's the case. If there's other ones that are competing with each other on that level, there was never an MMO that actually got up to whatever 12 million concurrent users that WoW had. If both of these games have more than WoW had, there's clearly multiple competitors then, which means one of them could go away.
Well,
I didn't say that one of them, or that they definitely won't. I said they have the opportunity to not have that, go away. Like,
yeah.
I just don't think that's possible, that anything could not go away eventually. There's always going to be changes and trends.
Yeah.
But like,
culture.
look at. Okay, we'll go back to football again. Like, football is just growing every year. The NFL just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's been around for, 50, 60 years now. Football.
That's what I'm saying. That's a different world, though, to look at something that's already existed for 50 or 60 years versus something that's only existed for, 5?
Well, not really. I mean, no, Dota's been around for like over 10 years, like probably.
Okay, it's still 10 years versus 50.
It's 10 to 15 years. Yeah, but it's
longer
like
than my life versus 1/4 of my life or 1/3 of my life.
But a lot of the things that are happening in esports right now are strikingly similar to the early days of those sports like baseball and football and stuff. Like betting is starting to happen on esports, which is actually really important because that's what made that's like one of the main determining factors that made football, specifically as a spectator sport, really popular, is because people could bet. And that's starting to happen too as well.
Keep into consideration, though, those variables have all changed as our culture has changed from the fucking 30s. Right?
Well, I mean, not
It
really.
might not
People
mean
still...
the same thing, whether or not that matters, considering now we have a whole different economy.
Maybe, I don't know, but like, I mean, sports betting is still a fucking huge industry.
I just see that progression happen, and I go, can you really compare those two things with all of these other variables that we can't account for?
I think so. I mean, football wasn't even that popular for a long time. For like 50 years, it wasn't that popular. Baseball always trumped. I mean, America's sport is baseball, right? Who the fuck watches baseball anymore? Like, their numbers are garbage compared to football. Really, only in the past, like, 20 years has football gone over and become really popular. In fact, even in the last 3 or 4 years, it was the only time that, like, the Super Bowl started trumping everything else in viewership numbers. They had, like, 110 million viewers, like, 4 Super Bowls ago, which was the largest of anything ever on television. And that was the first time. That was only like 4 years ago. So football is gaining in popularity and snowballing, but it took 100 years before they would do that, you know? Like, it was a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time for football to get into that groove. I don't know necessarily if one specific game, though, like Dota, I don't know if I don't know if Dota is going to be the game that's played like 100 years from now.
It'll be a category, not a game.
It could be that, or it could just be esports in general is just what's played 100 years from now.
That's the category.
And everything needs to grow. Every esport needs to grow in order for everything to be good. Like, I'm happy for any esport being pop. I mean, fuck, yesterday DreamHack, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, that had like 300,000 viewers. It was crazy.
But you do know that all of these things are inextricably linked to things like Twitch existing, and if there's ever an interruption in that, or if we switch to some other method of consumption of this media, it will definitely affect that core player base.
You know, I wouldn't say it's as dire as you make it out to be, because the thing is, like, esports started without Twitch. I mean, esports started
but it's
years
growing
and
with
years
Twitch.
before. Yeah, it is absolutely growing in tandem with Twitch, and Twitch it's a symbiotic relationship between those two, right? Esports and Twitch. But we don't necessarily need to consume it on Twitch for it to always be that way. I mean, back in the day, you know, GOM TV was the thing that you would use for like StarCraft stuff, and that was years before with like Tasteless and Artosis, and you know, that was online and stuff, and yeah, Twitch is part of it. It's integral now, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for the future. I mean, it's possible that in the future it's going to be television. I mean, it's
already been on TV. It's on
Yeah.
Swedish TV.
The trend is moving away from television even being a thing, is what I'm saying. And what if public trends move away from Twitch being a thing in favor of some other thing that we don't know exists yet?
Oh, that's possible too, and that I don't think that would necessarily
that's getting
be
a
negative
little
thing.
of an absurd argument, though. Like just saying, what if this thing that doesn't exist yet happens? I feel like
the entirety of everything I've been saying has been for the sake of discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not actually this contrarian, nor am I this passionate or attached to any of the arguments I've been putting forward for the last 20 minutes. I just like good conversation. So before
Yeah.
anybody in the comments gets angry that I've been being a big asshole for the last 20 minutes, it's just so we can talk.
Yeah. I
We're all
don't see
still
it.
friends here. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But the no, I mean, like it could go in a lot of directions. That's the thing, and the thing is, the really big thing is America needs to attach itself to esports, is what needs to happen, because it's like StarCraft was already on Korean TV for years, for a long time, and they had these huge tournaments with these huge stages. The people were actually celebrities. They'd have paparazzi following them around, the fucking guys who played StarCraft Brood War. You know, they'd have girls throwing bras at them. Like that was already happening. But the thing is, being the most popular thing in Korea isn't enough for the world stage. You know, it needs to be the most popular thing, or one of the most popular things on a big stage, whether that's somewhere in Europe or, I mean,
it
it's
needs
already
to
on
be
CBC.
either Europe or America, all of
Yeah.
Europe or America, because
Yeah, exactly. And it's getting there. It's getting closer. I mean, the last international part, like a special, was televised on ESPN2. So like it's getting there. It's just not there yet. And
that goes back to the original argument that we're getting to these really big breakthrough moments, but we had such a disaster with this last international that I'm worried that Dota's going to get left behind, and we're just going to go ahead with other.
Yeah.
And I don't see. I want Dota to be the one, because I have, and it's a personal thing. I have so much time into it, and I love the game. I want to support it. I want Dota to be the one that continues to grow and is big one day, bigger.
I just don't know that TV's the answer these days. I mean, it might help, but we're kind of moving away from it.
Well, yeah, but right now TV is the thing still.
We're moving away from it, but then
Very
also keep in
ephemeral at
mind,
this moment.
For the
Well,
for the
keep in
general non-internet audience, TV is still the thing.
even if TV is being moved away from, like, keep in mind those numbers on the Super Bowl. 110, like I think 2 years ago it was 115 million worldwide viewers, unique viewers. I mean, and that's not counting. That's just the TV sets.
That's
that
a success
were
of the
tuned in.
sport, not a success of television being more proliferatory in the culture. It's the other way around. You got it backwards. We need Dota to be more successful in our culture before people care to tune in on TV, not the other way around.
Well, possibly. I'm just saying that, like, what's the reason that you, like, the thing is, why do you want to post your videos on YouTube as opposed to, like, Dailymotion or Vimeo?
Discoverability.
Exactly. User base is huge on YouTube compared to those other platforms. TV is the same thing. The user base is so much, like, ridiculously larger.
Right, but who tunes into something like that that's so technical without already knowing about it? I would never
Well-
watch that and know what's going on.
No, that's a good point, and that's a big problem with esports, and I think Dota is actually harder to watch, harder to follow than StarCraft is. But then also keep in mind that poker was the same way. It's like super technical and stuff, but ESPN started playing the World Championship of Poker, and you know, now
Right, it got
poker is
trendy.
played on ESPN.
Yeah.
Exactly, it got trendy. People started liking it and playing it, and that's what happened with poker. Poker became a much bigger sport because of ESPN, because of the
Right.
television coverage that it had.
But it doesn't have the stigma that Dota has, where bros are going to be like, oh, it's a bunch of fucking nerds. Not going to hang
Yeah.
out with these nerds watching their nerd games playing on the internet. That's a bunch of bullshit. I don't drink beer.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. I would assume though
I
that, like,
apologize for all of that.
But no, even when poker was first being played, I remember at least from like word of mouth, because I mean there wasn't like a comment section on ESPN or anything back in those days. But you know, by word of mouth, people were like, "Why the fuck are they playing poker? That's not a sport on ESPN. Why are they playing that?" You know, and then now people are okay with it. But yeah, like when they did the the video for the Dota 2 for the international last year, there were a bunch of posts on the Dota 2 subreddit of just like the most ridiculous and hilarious comments on the ESPN video of people being like, "Yeah, a bunch of nerds sitting in their mom's basement playing video games. Why the fuck do I care about this?" Like, yeah, that's gonna happen.
And that's why Twitch is important, because it's a culture already amongst Twitch people that don't have that stigma the same way. They all actively reinforce each other playing games.
Yeah, but it's an echo chamber, you know? Like, it's only as big as people who are already into it, whereas
TV's the other way around. It's an anti-echo chamber. It's all put-downs.
Yeah, but like I said, with poker's a good example, I think. Like, the sport grew because of the TV coverage, even though people were very negative about it initially. And I think people would be very negative about Dota initially as well. But the chance for discovery is much higher there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, the tournaments are getting massive. I mean, you look at like the ESL 1 a few months ago was in a huge stadium in Germany, and it was massive. Like, it was huge. It was crazy. There's a lot of people there. I mean, they filled up like the 10,000 people stadium, I think. So, I don't know. It's getting bigger, and I want it to get bigger. I do, because I love watching it. Like, I love watching football. I love watching esports, and the kind of experiences that I have watching football are so super similar to the kind of experiences that I have watching Dota. Like, the kind of excitement that you get from enjoying it and knowing it and seeing crazy plays happen, it's the same. And I want more people to be able to experience that, and that leads to more people playing the game too.
Yeah, I still have yet to have an experience where I watch Dota with someone else. Like, I've still really wanted to try that, because watching football with other people is super fun.
We watched TI too, and we were screaming.
We did, but we were so fucking bad, and we didn't know what the fuck was going
bad.
on. But that was really fun, yeah.
We were screaming about the play.
We watched the play. That's right. Me and you watched the play. That was really good.
That was still amazing. Even being bad, we knew about it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and that's the thing too with football too. Is like, yeah, a lot of people don't understand Dota at first, but like, if you just put a person in front of a televised broadcast of football who has never seen the game before, they're not gonna have any fucking clue what's going on.
Oh, it's super simple. Dude runs left, dude runs right, carry ball, drop ball. That's like all you need to know. Score goes up.
Yeah, score goes up sometimes, but then it's the same thing with Dota. Like, dude runs left, dude runs right, kill a guy, score goes up. Like, it's the same kind of thing. I mean, there's the more
sometimes you gotta eat trees, sometimes you get a flying courier, sometimes you gotta fucking split into 5 parts that go to different parts of the map so you can fucking break their defenses. Like, it's not the same thing, no.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that football is an insanely complicated sport comparatively, compared to even other sports, and it's very popular. Like, it's a very complicated game, and I think Dota is also very complicated, and I think people like the complex nature of sports sometimes.
I'm trying to break down the basic elements of what you see when you look at one versus what you see when you look at the other. And yeah, you could say, okay, in football you need to get the ball from one side of the field to the other. In Dota, you try to get your dudes from one side of the field to the other. But how you do that is so much deeper in some ways than in Dota than in football. I mean, you throw a ball, you block some dudes in football, but Dota, it's like, you can't even understand where you begin if you don't know the fucking 70 heroes and what their 4 or 5 moves all are and how those interact with everybody else. It's just crazy deep.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it is. Well,
also, I have no idea how many heroes there even are, so whoever's going to correct me, I don't care.
Under 105, I think, now?
Okay, I just said 70-something, so I'm sure somebody's pissed.
Yeah, that's, but, yeah, no, I mean, well, if you want to play the game well, yeah, you have to understand what all the heroes do. But honestly, if you're just watching, you can kind of understand, like, from the spells. That's actually one of the things that I really like in Dota, and one of the things that made me go into Dota initially over other MOBAs at the time, was because the spells are so visceral and the sound effects are so explosive.
You need to know the rules, though. And the rules for Dota are infinitely complex compared to football. You're bound by physics in the world of reality. You can throw a ball, you can run left and right, you can jump, you can duck. That's about it.
Well, in Dota, it's like you kill the tower and you kill the ancient. That's the whole thing. Like the whole thing is like at the end of the day, Dota boils down to defense of the ancients, which is what it's called, where you're just defending your ancient. That's all it is. Like you have to the whole game, all the other parts don't really matter except for defending the ancient. As long as your ancient stays alive and the enemy's ancient dies, that's how the game is won.
Until you're playing it and you're playing a character that's not supposed to last hit, and then you last hit, and then everyone gets mad at you. Like, if you don't know those things and you're watching it, you're going to have a very different experience, I think. Like, knowing the anticipation, the suspense, all the build-up comes from being able to see how the chemistry works with these two different factors of, like, here's this group of guys coming into this group of guys, what's going to happen here? And without knowing that, you have no clue what's going to happen there.
Well, last year they did the noob cast, which was
really
like,
good.
Yeah, it's really good for, and they're probably going to do this year. And if you guys have never gotten into Dota and you're interested in trying out the international, this is months from now. But if you're interested, they're going to probably do the Noobcast again because it was a huge success, where they got analytical players and a noob together to basically do a Noobcast where they explain everything that's happening, everything that's happening, what things mean, what spells do. Even when they're picking, in the picking phase, in the captain's mode, they play videos of each of the heroes' spells and stuff, and tell you explicitly what they do, and stuff like that.
You still have to remember all those things. It's not like you can't go into this with no prior knowledge and be like, okay, well, that intuitively makes sense that would happen when that happens. It's all just kind of arbitrary.
Well, you don't really need to remember those things, because there are a lot of things that happen where two supports are roaming with a smoke gank. Right, and so they're going.
I don't even know what that means. First of all,
yeah. Well, basically, when you're watching it on a cast, you can see that like a caster will be like, okay, they're going for the smoke gank, and then you see these two heroes roaming around, going for a player, and then going and inevitably killing him. And you can pretty much understand what happened there. They made like a fucking James Bond Spy Who Shagged Me play and fucking murdered a guy. And that's something that you can totally understand when you see it.
But you would say, why would you do that, though?
Well, to kill the player.
But how does that fit into the meta situation of how this game is progressing? Like, we don't know that. Maybe they have buyback and they're instantly going to be back and it didn't matter.
Well, sometimes that happens, yeah. But that's like super late game stuff. In the early game, it can be exciting to watch a player die. Like that's something that's that sounds really bad out of context, I realize. But like it can be really exciting to see, a gank go successfully, and see a player get killed. And that's something that you don't even have to understand the sport to really, get behind, right? Like
but why would you care unless you know the bigger picture? Right?
Well, I don't play Counter-Strike Global Offensive competitively. I don't watch it. I don't know any of the specific things, but I was watching some of the finals, and you know what? An impressive kill was an impressive kill. Like killing a guy, shooting a guy in the head, it's still really cool. And in the same way in Dota, I would imagine for someone who doesn't know the game, watching someone kill another person is still really interesting.
Well, because you're impressed in Counter-Strike by their dexterity, their ability to balance a reticle over some tiny pixel section on the screen, versus the dexterity in Dota, where it's basically you walk around with clicking on the environment and hit 1, 2, 3, 4 a lot. That's not. I wouldn't be impressed by someone doing that.
You should have seen.
No, I know it works for you, but it doesn't work for me. I don't get that that level out of watching someone play Dota. It's just hitting a couple of buttons at the right moment.
Hitting a couple of buttons to shoot someone at the right moment is the same thing. You move your mouse and click one button.
Yeah.
You should only have one button to click when down to the base of it for Counter-Strike.
I mean, there's a couple things that are really impressive too when you get really in deep with how clicking the buttons works. Like, for instance, there's an item that makes you immune to taking damage from spells. That's an oversimplification of what it is, but for a layman, like there's an item that makes it so that if a hero uses a spell on you, you don't get hit by it, right? And there's this spell that is used where it's a huge AoE, where from the center point, there's like it's like an epicenter of an earthquake. It goes out, a bunch of heroes get stunned in a huge AoE, and they get hurt. There's people practice clicking that spell immunity item quickly before that AoE hits you, because like I said, it starts at a central point and moves out, and it moves out very quickly. And they spend hours practicing just sitting in the lane farming and having this hero Tidehunter blink in and ravage and trying to get the BKB timing down so that he can click it fast enough. The reaction times are fast enough. Like, the reaction times are super important in Dota. And that's something that teams practice.
How does that
well.
make any sense with lag, though?
Well, you can only really do that kind of thing on a LAN.
Like, isn't that intrinsically broken if basically the whole thing comes down to timing, but timing is variable?
Well,
if you're playing on your own server, at worst, you'll have like 50, 60 ping, and it's almost
the fact that could break the game in any direction at any point, isn't that like a huge point of contention for players?
It doesn't come up.
Is.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but in tournaments and online tournaments, there's a big issue with that now because we have people playing on Europe and on North America playing in the same tournament. That's an issue with the way tournaments are set up right now. That's not really an issue with the game.
Yeah,
it's an issue from fundamentally that the game exists in a position that can make that happen, I would think.
Well, it would
but
only
you can make the same argument for Counter-Strike.
And I would.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with esports in general. Yeah. And that's the problem with like I said, that's the problem with the online tournaments. But when you're on a LAN, the reaction time is super important, and ping doesn't really matter.
It is online too. Like,
well, the LAN, yeah, it is still online because Dota hasn't given us the LAN ability yet, which is a big point of contention, I think, in the whole Dota community. But still, you know, you get the general idea. Like, for a person playing the game, like if you're playing on your own server, which you should be. You know, I get like 30 ping, which is that's 30 milliseconds.
Not gonna get you. It's not gonna.
Yeah, that's not like 30 milliseconds is. I don't think humans can even react within 30 milliseconds. So it's not even a thing there. On the online tournaments, yes, that's the big problem. That's something that actually has been something that's been a problem most recently. Where EG has been having trouble playing on the Luxembourg servers and have lost. They have not won a single game on Luxembourg.
But that's the thing, right? Is that North American teams should not be playing European teams online. It's stupid. It shouldn't be happening.
But you could worry in both directions, though, that the lag correction could also end up causing the person trying to do the damage to get it through when it shouldn't have, or the other way around. Either way, it seems like it would be broken.
Yeah. But again, it's too short to really matter.
But what if the lag correction ends up giving it when it shouldn't have been given?
You wouldn't be able to tell. It's too short to even tell who should have got what.
Yeah, if we're talking about a LAN situation where the pings are 30, then yeah, it's inconsequential at that point.
Uh-huh.
I mean, on top of that, the thing is, Dota has cast points, so spells aren't cast immediately. I actually don't know how it works in League of Legends, whether spells have cast points. But basically, what I mean by cast points is that every spell, most spells at least, 90% of spells have a casting animation, so you can always cancel it, for the most part. Some spells have faster casting animation, some spells have lower ones, some don't have any at all, but you can always kind of cancel it, and that sort of corrects for that kind of thing as well. There's a number of factors. I mean, there's turn rate as well.
I think you're just making my case for me that this is not a thing that people can casually get into without knowing hours and hours of information about how the engine works.
You don't have to know cast points when you're starting out. All these things that we if we say anything, we're coming with, again, thousands of hours of experience, so we're gonna know most of the things. There's very few things me and Rob don't know about Dota at this point.
The argument was like, dude's trying to get off a BKB in time before Ravage. Like, none of those things are things you would intrinsically know about the game if you just walk up to it. And the fact that interaction even happens wouldn't even make sense to someone who doesn't understand the context of why they happen.
So that specific scenario I can actually make an analog for. That's the kind of thing that's really impressive for someone like me and Austin who can see that happening and be like, holy shit, that's an amazing play that he just made. That a casual viewer would not understand being like a really amazing play. And that same thing happens in football. Like in football, you'll have something like
A block. Blocks
like
are
a
like the
block.
most obvious thing.
Right,
They're
yeah,
not.
a block, or like say that Peyton Manning play where he bootlegs it, when he didn't even tell his team that he was audibling it to a bootleg. They thought it was a run, and he was just doing it, and you could see that happening, and it's like an amazing play that you can understand as a avid football watcher, but the casual guy is not going to understand that, or audibles, or things like that, or blocks.
Yeah, a
You know?
casual viewer will never be like, "Oh, that was an amazing block." They're just not looking at that. Like someone who watches football a lot will look at everything that's going on in the field, at pretty much almost every position that's on the camera. You can pretty much follow it all once
Yeah.
you know what everything's going on. So you'll see the amazing block and the result of the play, and you'll be like, "Oh, that was an amazing block." But to someone who's watching it for the first time or for an early time, they just see dudes running at each other, and they don't really see
Aren't those moments the moments that matter the most in retention as far as getting people to be interested in this as an esport? Don't you need to know about this stuff to want to care about it?
Oh no, football doesn't have that. Like we were saying, most casual watchers are not going to see like the really obvious amazing plays are super obvious in Dota as they are in football. Like the play, the one that we were talking about from TI2, where the guy ravages and then Dendy steals Ravage and Ravages back and wins the fight, and the whole team is dead. Like you can understand that as a casual watcher. Like it turned around, and the fight that looked like it was going to be bad ended up being super good and won them the game.
But if you have no idea why, I don't know if it would be as impactful.
Well, you can understand why all the enemy team died and they pushed down the racks and the throne. Like that's what happened. They killed the entire enemy team, and it was amazing,
Right.
and they won the game.
I'm just seeing this from an external perspective going, was that just a dice roll? Did you just win for no reason this time? Like, I don't get why.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's also like the most amazing catch in NFL history, or at least what people are saying is that happened like last Sunday, where it's like an incredible, ridiculously insane catch that Odell Beckham Jr. makes, where he catches the
Right.
ball with 3 fingers over the back side and still gets a fucking, like, it's just the most amazing thing ever. You know, that's the same thing. Like maybe you don't understand exactly why it worked out well, right? Because maybe you don't understand the toe tapping, or whether or not how being called down works. Because how being called down works is like you could have the full hand, you can have an elbow, you can have a knee, or you can have 2 feet, right? And if a person doesn't understand that, then they would see that maybe that's an incomplete pass, or maybe that's not an incomplete pass, or, you know,
The
and stuff like that.
spectacle, though, is what people would be excited by there. They'd go, holy shit, that guy shouldn't have caught that, but he did. And
Yeah.
they'd see that he did, and that would be the end, and you would be excited by that. But in the other one, it's like, I don't know, everybody's dead for some reason, and you win.
Well, and how about where someone makes a big escape, like they're getting chased by. I mean, it's very obvious. You have one green bar, and then you have 3 red bars chasing the green bar. If you want to look at it as simple as possible, and you're like, all right, I've been watching this for 20 minutes. Probably this guy's going to die because he's surrounded, and it doesn't seem like he has a way out. But then he makes some crazy. He stuns all 3 of them and blinks and TPs out, and he shouldn't have. Like, it was a really crazy play, and he's alive. There's your satisfying. All right, he TP'd back to base. He's in base now, and they didn't get anything for that, and that's really exciting. That happened in one of the international games with, I forget who was the DK player. I think it was Mushi on Death Prophet.
Or like a team round too. Like sometimes that happens where like a player's being chased and nearly dead, and then his team comes and saves him and kills the entire enemy team. Like that's also really exciting, and something that I think a casual viewer can obviously watch and understand as well.
Mm-hmm.
When that kind of thing happens, where it's like a big turnaround, like, and the thing is too is that comebacks are super possible in Dota, which is really nice. And you know, everyone gets excited about a comeback, and no matter what it is.
I'm trying to think of what I could say in response to Austin's argument with the chasing thing. My only thing there, and I would pretty much agree that would be intrinsically exciting. The only thing I would say is, well, what if it's a hero where like that was just a bad matchup on the other team, and they don't realize that the hero that they're chasing like can just do that at any point, so that was just really dumb. But it looks fancy.
Yeah, I mean, if it looks fancy, then a casual viewer can understand it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it looks all... I mean, there's a hero that you make... that makes, like... a hero that is really fun to watch, even if you don't understand what he does, is Puck, because he's the kind of hero that you'll see in a game if a Puck player is really good, like a Fata or something, or a Dendi. He'll be making these plays where he's just moving around everywhere in this team fight over and over again, just jumping everywhere and killing people and doing all this ridiculous shit. And that's something that's really fancy and exciting to watch, and you don't really have to understand the hero to see that he's doing all this crazy shit and killing people and
Right.
winning the game and stuff.
Well, I was just imagining that last situation where the casual watcher was going, "Oh, that was exciting," and then everybody around him that knows the game was like, "No, that was really dumb. You shouldn't be excited right now."
Yeah.
Right? And then they get shamed for being excited for a second, which I've had those sort of experiences in football before.
Yeah, sometimes stuff like that may happen, I'm sure. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Would be a possibility. But I don't think that's like the fault of the game. That's just the fault of like sports in general.
Well, it's the fault of the player for not knowing more, which is where it becomes punitive.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's really
Or the viewer for not knowing more.
gonna flame a spectator for not understanding what happened. Although Twitch chat, you can't talk to Twitch chat.
Twitch chat doesn't count.
Yeah.
Twitch chat just doesn't count.
Twitch
Any
chat
kind
doesn't
of conversation trying to make valid arguments, you cannot use Twitch chat as a
Twitch
valid
chat,
argument. It doesn't.
I saw a Twitch chat, and now this is something for like people who actually play Dota. I saw in Twitch chat people yelling, just screaming at each other about whether E-Blade was a good item for Templar Assassin, and it's like, yeah, it's like this is like I said, this is like an in-depth kind of thing where E-Blade would do virtually nothing for a Templar Assassin. And people arguing about the mechanics of whether or not it would be good in a situation. It's like, Twitch chat is its own thing where they're gonna flame for the sake of flaming because
Twitch chat's wrong a lot too.
They're so
They're wrong and they're very
they'll
loud
flame-
about it too.
Yeah.
They're super loud. Like sometimes I'll be seeing them flaming casters like, "No, you got that wrong." It's like, he actually didn't get that wrong. You obviously didn't read the patch notes because you're not understanding what's happening here.
Shit happens
And
in
you're
Isaac
mad.
all the time, too. Like, my latest conundrum has been every time Mom's Knife shows up and people say, you have to take that 2-heart penalty, use Mom's Knife, or this run is dead. And I go, well, but I'm not good at using Mom's Knife, so that's actually a problem. Also, having those 2 hearts could actually make my run better. So context is kind of important in this situation. Then people just get angry because you didn't do the thing that they wanted you to do.
You
So
gotta be the
it doesn't
Isaac
matter
master.
if you win, you won in the wrong way now, so it doesn't count.
Nick, there is a reason that the saying or the term is armchair quarterback. That happens in every sport where people are like,
Isaac
if I was sitting on that, if I was snapping that ball and tossing it, I could have tossed it better than Peyton Manning did. That was a stupid play.
Tosses
Like
football over those mountains.
Yeah. So it's an armchair quarterback because it's a thing. That's every sport. Everybody can see
Rob,
something.
I could cover better than Cortez Allen though. Like I actually could.
Yeah,
I think
I can block better than all of Chicago's offensive line.
I just
I think
wonder
an
why
empty
people don't
water bottle could block better than all of Chicago's.
Oh, shots fired. Why don't
It's
people
not,
have
though.
empathy though? Why can't they tell like the context of the person playing and don't they like get who they're looking at and talking to when they say those things?
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't that come into play? Like I get
Nick,
that
if
you
I-
have a propensity for a certain thing, so I encourage that thing.
Dang, never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but I feel like it's too far gone now from what you said to where it'd be funny.
Oh well.
I don't know. I think just
I was
people-
gonna say if I fired shots at the Chicago line, they'd probably all miss and get through.
Still worth it.
I'm sorry, Chaos. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, the poor Chicago Bears.
Go Bears.
The Bears.
Bears.
Why did they fire Lovey Smith? They're fucking stupid.
It's too lovey.
He was too lovey. Who's he play?
It's a big teddy bear.
He's with the Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers, right? Yeah.
Done years.
Or Lovey Smith. The Nears.
Bears.
Guys, we're at 2 hours now.
2 hours.
Fuck!
Yeah,
We
so,
did it. We won magic.
This is gonna render all night now.
So I think this is a good point to end it. This is now longer than your average film, so
Movie magic.
You asked
Yeah.
for more podcasts. You
We're
got
still an hour
2
away from a
episodes worth.
freaking Peter Jackson
To
Lord of the
note-
Rings movie, though.
the game ended at 15 minutes. So
It's an especially short. We're good now.
Why don't these guys play another game?
We could do 3 more episodes with Baron Green or whoever shows up and not even talk about anything but Magic now for a while.
Right, yeah, that's true, yeah.
We're covered.
Well, yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody. We have new episodes every Mondays and Fridays on both mine and Nick's perspectives. And also, if we have other people on, like Bear and Green, that'll be on their perspectives as well.
Right.
Not on Austin's, because he's a big piece of shit. So.
Okay, I don't follow the rules.
But anyway, come back Mondays and Fridays.
And tell us about your Dota arguments in the comments, as long as they're constructive.
Yeah.
Or Nintendo, too, for that matter.
Yeah, Nintendo Flame, Dota Flame.
We talked about Nintendo. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, bye, guys.
See you later.
Bye.